This video is going to look at the environmental impact of computer systems. And it's going to be looking at three aspects of that. One of them is going to be to do with the production of computers. One of them is going to be to do with the usage of computers, so when they're actually in their life being used as computers, and one of them is going to be to do with the disposal of computer systems. So if we look first of all at the production of computer systems, computers themselves have components which are rare. There's a number of rare metals which are included in them, so rare metals, and there's a number of raw materials, standard metals and plastics, which all use up resources of the world. There's also involved in making computers a large amount of electricity. And to give you an idea of how large, probably to produce a computer you're looking at about 24 kilograms of fuel. In addition to that, for the chemicals that you use, you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of 22 kilograms of chemicals. And finally, one of the biggest parts of production that is required is water, surprisingly. And you probably need somewhere in the region of 1.5 tons of water to produce an entire computer system. It has to be said that these figures are slightly old, and now it is requiring slightly less with laptops, and certainly if you're on tablet PCs it will be less than that. But water is still a massive thing, and you still need certain chemicals and rare metals, such as the production of lithium batteries requires the rare metal lithium. You then move on, once a computer's been built, to its usage. And the biggest thing here which you're using up really is electricity. So you obviously need power in order to run these products. And in server farms, so these are massive warehouses basically full of servers. In server farms you also need things to cool it down, so air conditioning. And it's estimated, with the number of websites that are now online, with the number of services that now run through these websites with Web 2 and all of that, it's estimated that already we're looking at about 2% of the USA energy is going just to running these server farms. So this isn't your home PCs, this isn't your tablet PCs or your phones, just server farms is consuming about 2% of the USA's energy, and that figure is increasing really quite drastically. It is possibly worth mentioning that there is some balance on this. So if you have services which are online, and that means that people perhaps can meet online instead of taking an international flight, obviously there's going to be some kind of offset there. So it's not all negative. However, these are big figures, and to offset that you really have to have quite a change in the way people work. The final part of the environmental impact is the disposal of machines. And the disposal of machines, because they contain rare metals, because some of the materials which are used inside them are poisonous, this has to be done in a very careful way, and it's actually quite expensive to dispose correctly of completely broken equipment. The best thing to do, if possible, is to fix it, or to buy replacement parts for just the one component that's broken, or extend the life and don't upgrade so quickly. Unfortunately, people do. So we have the case of mobile phones typically being replaced every 2 or 3 years, and PCs every maybe 3, 4, 5 years. Often these products are perfectly usable, however they are dumped into landfill. Because in the West we don't want it in our landfills, or it's not legally allowed to put them in landfills, what has been happening, certainly fairly recently, is we've been shipping products over into places like Africa, and essentially, although this is illegal, it's been said that we're giving the computers when as high as 90% of them just don't work, and they're going to landfill there, and essentially they're illegally dumped. And the problem with this is that some of the components are toxic, and therefore what we are doing in the West is somewhat taking our products, not paying to have them properly disposed of, and then dumping them on other countries which will buy them much, much cheaper, or landfill them much cheaper. And so there is some kind of ethical question as well around all of this environmental impact as to whether we're doing things in the best ethical manner, and whether we need to be upgrading or indeed buying things new so often when we get limited benefits and the negatives on other parts of the world or other people in the world may be far greater. And it's too difficult to go into the exact ethics of what's right or wrong. However, what you do need to understand is there are these dimensions. There is a huge cost to producing these devices, then there's an ongoing cost of running them, and then there is a cost either to people or a cost of actually physically disposing them in the correct manner.